Alright, welcome back to Bit Heroes Explained. In the previous video we talked about PvP, daily reset, weekly reset, and kind of how all that works. What I forgot to mention was that if you manage to push to the top, you're the #1 player for that week in PvP. You get your statue in the center of town. Take a snapshot of the cosmetics that you wore at that time, and if you click on it, you can take a look at last week's ranks. And if you want, you can go and look at previous ranks and see how everybody was doing through all the previous events. It actually dates back to the beta too, if you really want to look and get in there. So look at that, in the beta and the alpha. So that's pretty cool. In this video we are going to talk about, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about crafting. So coming down here where the forge is at, if I click that anvil, I can open up my crafting tab in town. A lot of you are going to say, you know, you can just obviously click on the left hand side of your user interface and enter that too. That's fine. If you want to be that way, you can do that as well. Here is going to have your upgrade tab, so any of these items that have this little dancing exclamation point is going to be an item that you can upgrade. You can choose which way you want the stats to go, and don't worry about that if you want to change your mind later on. It is not very cost intensive to switch to reforge and switch your stat distribution around, but it is going to cost these resources here for upgrades. So if you break down green materials, common equipment is going to give you common materials, and so you'll get that. If you break down blues, which are rare, you'll get this, and if you break down epics, you'll get this. As you go up in tier in the game, you will start to run into better items, and so legendary is the next step off of epic, but legendaries are going to have their own special material to help them upgrade. And so a lot of new players will ask how to progress. Should they focus their energy on legendary items? And not until about tier 7 or 8. You want to go as far as you can without using any legendary items at all. If you get some legendaries in the first raid, they actually do not require their own special currency, so you can use those. But after the first raid, they have these different little resources that are time consuming to require, and so you want to skip those, and typically you can progress through all the content until around 7, 8, or 9 depending on your build without worrying about legendaries at all, so you just salvage them. But this is what that would look like. With mythic items, I don't have any on this character. Mythic items will have a very deep red border, and when you get them they will follow the same kind of progression. They'll have the legendary material, but little fun fact for them, if you upgrade them once and salvage them, you'll actually get more materials than if you just salvage it. So that is currently still effective, and this is early 2019. So a lot of players think that they either have removed that element from the game or that has been changed. As of right now, it has not. So if you get a mythic item and you're not going to use it, you want to salvage it after upgrading it once, but you don't want to upgrade it further than that. You'll get more resources over time. So for exchange, obviously there's a lot of junk in here. There's no limit to your inventory, so you don't have to worry about that, but I'm sure some of you watching the video will be you'll be triggered by this because you're OCD, and that is fine. So if I want to keep things clean, obviously I said I'm not going to use this legendary item, so I can salvage it. So I'm going to click exchange, and as previously discussed, I'll start getting these resources. And so again here, I'm keeping this epic item. I might use that for something in the future. Maybe, maybe not. And so you can exchange these items. You can also change your filter. So if you don't want set items to show up and you're worried about accidentally salvaging something that you might need later, you can do that. You can also do the same thing for runes, accessories, pets, and so on. Or just keep an eye on it. If you are worried about accidentally salvaging items, what you'll see is you can actually come up here and actually click and lock them down, and so these items will no longer show up here. That way you can't accidentally salvage them and exchange them and lose them forever, because there is no way to get them back. Or you can just kind of keep an eye on things. If you're wearing something, if it's equipped, you're not going to salvage it. If it is fully upgraded, you won't see it in your upgrade tab, but if you're worried about exchanging it on your final gear, that's something that you'd want to consider. In the trade tab, we kind of showed this previously in other videos, but if you are low on a certain resource, there are conversions. You do kind of lose a little bit, but this is only really something that you worry about when you're a lower level anyways. Eventually you'll have a stockpile of these resources and you'll be good to go. But you can exchange resources through crafting. I talked about PvP rewards when we were in PvP, but the most valuable thing that you can do with these is you can save them up and you can get skill points, so I would really recommend wasting any time on anything else here. With potions, if you want to convert them, you can. Not a big deal here. This is how you make gems, you make runes. So you can use these rune fragments to make runes and craft them. It is an RNG chance, so for here there's 4 different options. You've got an equal chance to get any of these, and if your luck is really bad, you could actually just end up getting gold runes repeatedly like my main account did. But eventually RNGesus smiled on me. I got the runes that I needed, and we're feeling pretty good about that. But this is how you make runes with those rune fragments. And this is also how you make mounts. So you can get mounts from weekly events. Every once in a while a random mount will be a reward in there, and so if you wanted to, you could try holding out for that. It's going to be a faster way to get it. 10 mount guts is really cheap. You can get that off a couple daily bonuses or maybe from like a weekly event, and you can get your first mount, and that's going to be a big boost of power. That's going to give you a lot of stats, and also it's going to give you a mount skill, and your mount skills will save you. A lot of times if a player gets stuck and they can't kill a boss to one of the flags, if you use your mount skills for damage or healing, that might be that little extra boost that you need to help progress you through the content. But just like everything else in this game, it's a random chance to get any one of these 3. And the stat distributions are random, so it can be any combination, and the bonus is random, so you can get damage reduction, you can get double strike, speed, whatever. It is random there. The only thing that is guaranteed is that if you get Chico, you're going to get the Chico effect. If you get these different ones, you're going to get the different effect, but everything else can change. And that movement speed is speed for your character moving around the map, and the speed of combat, it's not any sort of damage increase. But that's how you get mounts. And then over here with sets, since I salvaged an item, if you want to craft sets, as you salvage more set pieces and as you salvage, you come in contact with higher level equipment, you'll unlock more of these crafting options here. And so once you get the set material, you can choose to craft over here. So I believe I got Demos on this character, but I didn't need to use it, so I salvaged it, and that gave me this material over here. And so if you salvage one in the set, you can craft other ones in the set. This is one example where there's different sets in one basket. That's not something that's common, but it's a lower level content. So let's say maybe I just really wanted the cosmetic, but I had this one previously. I could put some effort in and I could craft this guy right here, and I can have both those cosmetics if I want older items or I want to do that. In the future, with set items, this is a very important option. For example, on my main character, I kept getting the shield for the Polaris set. Let's see, that's not me. This is last week. Alright. So I kept getting the shield dropped from trials. I got 4 shields in a row. And fortunately for me, if you salvage one of these items, you get the set currency or the set material, and then you can craft the other items. It's random chance. Luckily for me, the first thing I crafted was the sword, the next thing I crafted was the helmet, and the next thing I crafted was the plate, but I could have gotten kind of run around in a circle. The fortunate side of that is that the only thing you waste when you craft set items is that you waste the legendary material. It costs about 100 legendary material to do a reroll, but you do not use up the set material. So if I had enough of these, which I did, I could have kept crafting and crafting until I eventually got what I needed. And I've only had 4 pieces drop, and I've done 3 Reef Forges, and I was good to go. And that was a big, massive boost of power. So being able to craft sets is awesome. Again, you will unlock more of these recipes as you come into and salvage other set items in the game. And then Reef Forge is important. I said previously that it's very easy to reset your stats. This is a damage focused character, and I haven't run into any content where I need to have any defensive or to have any health. So I can switch that around. Let's say for some reason I want to go for a speed build. I can click this, I can switch to health, or I can switch to speed. No big deal. And the cost is very minor. one of these red materials, that's nothing, and gold's very cheap. Even if I'm reforging a mythic or a set item or a legendary, it really doesn't cost that much as well, so that's pretty minor. Other things, the stat distributions on different items is going to be different, so you notice that these are all maxed up, but look at this stat distribution compared to this stat distribution. Some builds you want very low speed and you want very low stamina, and so it's better for me to have a stat distribution like this than a stat distribution like this. What I can tell you is that these items with this stat distribution came from raids, and these items with this stat distribution came from world boss. So depending on where your items come from, it'll give you different distributions, and that's also one of the reasons why it's so valuable to have higher level items, because you typically get a more favorable stat distribution. We're going to go back here and look at this character again. On these set items, you'll see that the stamina and the speed are very, very low, but the total stats are going to be equal to the legendary. So legendary has the same total stats as a mythic, as a set. They all have the same total stats. The difference is sets will of course have a set bonus, mythics will have a mythic bonus, legendaries will not. But this character, the goal of this character, this is a bait, so I want low stamina and I want low speed and I want high power, and I get a more favorable ratio off of the sets and off of the mythics than I do off of the legendaries. So for me, speed is basically wasted here, so I've got around 50 or so speed that's wasted, and that's a significant difference, because a bait character, you want to have the most attack power that you can so that you get more out of your pet. So that wraps this video up, talking about crafting. Hope you enjoyed it. Be more videos in the future. We're finally getting through a lot of the user interface and kind of touched on most of these mechanics, and in the future I plan on doing a lot more of gameplay videos and kind of like a daily, daily activities, I guess. So appreciate you watching. There'll be more videos in the future. Leave any comments if you have them, any questions. You want to aim those at the Discord. So have a good one.